Hello, everyone. Hi. How are you doing? Welcome to my virtual studio here. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for coming. There is a chat box. If I'm looking this direction, it's because I'm looking at the chat. You can talk with me live on here. So I encourage you to do that anytime you have a question. If you just want to know something that you think I might know, type down your question and I will answer you right here. So if you've come in the room, if you've come into the classroom, go ahead and give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. Hi, Samantha. How are you? I miss you and your whole family. How are things? Oh, this isn't what I need to adjust. There we go. Okay, we are rocking here. Just going to set up my angle. You need to be able to see this. I hope you have your paper and whatever type of color or palette, whatever types of colors you have, doesn't matter today. We're just going to work with what you have. So I've got my watercolor here. I also have these guys. This is just tube watercolor paint that I've squeezed out onto this store-bought or thrift store-bought palette plate, really. So I can grab paint from here. I can mix it here, and it's awesome. Hey, Elsa. Okay, hi, One Eye Creations. And Hannah too. Welcome, everyone. So glad you're here. Can everyone see my working surface here? I want you to have good visibility on this. You should have a quarter. I was just explaining my paint here. Hi, Amy. Nice to see you guys. I have a rinsing paint. And if you've just stepped into the classroom here, if I'm looking this direction, I'm looking at the chat. I'm looking for questions. If at all you have any questions, please put them here. I am ready with my coffee today. When you're painting, never mix your beverage with your rinse water. Have them on opposite sides. You don't need this, but I use these all the time because if I do need to make a fine line and fill water goes on top of it. So if you ever want to work with that, I like Stedler or Micron. Let me know if you want me to link those below. After on the replay, I can put links below. Working with a watercolor synthetic squirrel brush today, Master's Touch, Hobby Lobby. This is a round brush, and this is the point. So we're going to be working with the point and the side, and going to be doing lots of different things with this tool. This is the same type of hair in the brush. It's just called a flat brush. So we have options. You might not have the options that I have, but that's okay. I just want you to work with what you have today. Hey, Alana and Cody are here. How's it going, you guys? Hi, Autumn. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thanks for coming in. We're just going to really jump right in here. I may have gone on a couple minutes early, so I hope everybody who's planning on coming is going to just file in. And again, put your questions there if you have any. I want you to grab, well, first of all, let's just take a minute to just kind of, I don't know if your day was crazy. You know, life of a homeschool mom, sometimes it can be crazy. And more than, I know that, you know, a lot of you out there today aren't homeschool moms, but everybody's doing school at home right now. So we're all on this boat together. We're going to be making our own composition of balloons today. So there's a few things that I wanted to teach you about color and about composition. And so I'm not sure what you have in your palette, so I'm just going to stay very general with what colors you should use, what you can think about as you lay out your composition here. And so let's just get right into it. We are going to take our quarter or whatever small, hi Jen, yay, come on in. Whatever your small object is that's probably a circular shape, we are going to trace it several times on our paper. So this is going to be the thing that takes the most amount of time, is the tracing of this quarter. You're probably working down on a table. That's perfect. You keep doing that. I just need to be able to show you what I'm doing here. So that's why I have my easel set up. So when you're talking about composition and variety, what the eye is really interested in is seeing a variety of movement and shape and space. So I want you to think about those three things: movement, shape, and space as we lay out our composition. Now, most balloons are circular, so if you have a quarter, go ahead and trace that several times on your paper. But maybe with this first sheet of paper, we just do circles. And then on your second sheet of paper, I want you to branch out, get a little creative, use maybe some different shapes you've seen balloons, or any other shape you'd like. This is kind of, the second one can just be your own creation. But with the first one, I want to practice a little bit of watercolor brush control and some color mixing. So first, I'm going to give you about 5 minutes or 4 minutes to trace this quarter on your paper. In several areas. So I might make like a tight little group of some circles here, and then I might go down here and have a smattering of maybe 3 down here. What you're looking to do is not to space them all out evenly and perfectly. You want to kind of group them in an interesting way. So think about how you can do that. You can also take your quarter and overlap. So where these 2 balloons overlap here is where those colors will mix. And if your color that you lay down first is dry here, the second one will mix in a different way than if these 2 colors were wet next to each other. So that's why you want a few little areas on your paper so that you can bounce around if you want. And then when the color comes into the composition, hi Jenny, nice to see you in here. Thanks for coming. When you're thinking about what colors to put in your composition, you can think about spacing out your blues and your greens, your oranges and your reds, so that you get a nice, your eye kind of travels around your page a little bit. So go ahead, you guys trace what you're going to trace on your paper. If all you have is a pen, you don't have a pencil, that's okay too. I think that Sharpies don't bleed when you put water on top. So if you have a Sharpie, use that. Otherwise, a pencil is fine. These also don't have to overlap. You can spread them out. I also want you to try to stay in this upper region of your paper. I know your paper probably isn't as large as mine, but stay in this upper region and plan it out this way. At the very end, I want us to put in something down here. Another thing I want you to think about is not squishing your balloons right up to the edge of your paper. You're going to have 3 main edges of your paper that I want you to keep a nice margin of space. See if you can keep about an inch of space around the tops and these 2 sides, so that your eye is just drawn right to the middle, right to the main point of your painting. Also, special welcome to the ladies of Omaha Bible Church and the children of Omaha Bible Church that are hopping on this session today. So glad you could come and make it and paint with me. We have so much fun together. Just kind of feeling it out as I go. You have freedom with this one. Okay, now maybe if you're an older student or if you have a little bit more experience, I want you to ditch the quarter and just use your arm to make a few circles. Hi, Sarah and Andy. Welcome to the classroom, the virtual classroom. I'm so glad you're here today. What we have been doing, okay, good. You're already drawing circles. Awesome. Andy, if you're not ready to just do freehand, that's okay. And anyone else who's a beginner, go at your own pace. Please don't just do something because I'm doing it here. You need to stay at your comfort level as we get into this. Okay, so to make a really nice, elegant, proportioned circle, the motion is coming from your shoulder. I don't want you to just be drawing like this. If you look at it, you only have about 1.5 inches of space of a mark that you can make with your hand like this. You have a little more with your wrist, but you have the most amount of range of motion coming from your arm. So even if you're working at your table, stay really loose with your arm. Try not to rest this part of your hand. This is just going to get some of your drawing muscles working. So now I want you to think about how large that quarter was and try to make a circle just about that size. So if you need to practice in the air a couple times, just kind of swing your arm like this. If your line doesn't start and end at the exact point you need it to, that's okay. This is totally just practice. Remember, we have a second sheet of paper. You're probably it's gonna look better on that sheet of paper anyway. We're just practicing here. So I want to, let's say I'll fill in here and I'm just trying to get that quarter size. So it's not a perfect circle, that's okay. The looser you make your line, the quicker you make your motion, the more accurate your circle will be. And I can rest my pinky on the page for some stabilization. You can also do this if you want to, just kind of brace your arm and do a nice swinging motion. This will take some practice. So if you have a sketchbook, I just love doodling circles. I think it's so good to get into any drawing practice time with just some mindless muscle practice. So it's okay to go over your line a little bit too. Right, so my circles are all coming together. I'll do one more right here. That one is a little bigger. Okay. So you've got your watercolors, hopefully. And if all you have are acrylic, and if you have some water, you don't have to, but you could mix a little bit of water into your acrylic. With watercolor, the real beauty of it is that usually you're working on a white piece of paper. And so you've got your transparent color of watercolor on your paper, and it really lets the white of the paper shine through. So your colors are really clear and really beautiful. But it also means that as they overlap, when those colors meet, you'll get a new color in between. So with your brush, just want you to dunk it in the water. But before we get it into our palette or put it on our page, I want you to remember to never smash your brush like this, that the brush needs some dragging motion. This is really the motion that we're going to do as we fill in these circles, especially against the outline. And then as we fill it in, I want you to think about just going really light, really, really light. I'm not totally smashing my brush in like that, but I'm just going to go really light as I fill these in. I can do it this way too, a little quicker. So we're going to work with that a little bit. This is where you get to choose any color to put in here first. I'm going to go with a pretty neutral yellow. So all I've done is I've stuck my water in there and I'm just agitating it a little bit with my brush. Again, don't be rough, be gentle. And you kind of want your color to be moving around nicely on your palette. So I've filled my brush now just by twisting all of that pigment and water into it. And I think I'll just choose this one right here. Swinging my brush around, picking up, and then quickly filling in. And if you don't get an area, just quickly go over it. You don't want to obsess too much with watercolor. The paint will start to eat away at your paper, especially if you don't have a special watercolor paper called cold press. So just try to stay just in one layer. Now, if you've done yellow, I want you to go into a blue color, any blue in your palette. Pick up a little bit of blue. And if you need to put more yellow, you didn't quite get as much yellow as I did on my palette, grab a little bit of your yellow. And now take your blue and stick it into your yellow, and mix it around, and see what happens. Your blue could be a little different than mine. Mine is a cyan. It's also called phthalo, and it's the blue color that's in your printer. And I added a little brush full of that. So I'll choose somewhere else on my composition here. And I just want to fill in the area with as little amount of strokes as possible. That'll keep your paint nice and transparent in one layer. I really like this color, so I think I'll add another one down here. And I'm working upright, so the water in mine has pooled really nicely though down at the bottom. I do like that about watercolor, is that you can pick up your paper and kind of move it around until it dries, and it'll collect in areas depending on how you hold your paper. Going in between colors, always wash your brush out as best you can. If it takes kind of going up the side of your jar and checking on your paper towel, like so, then do that. You definitely don't want to muddy your colors. All right, I'm thinking mine needs a little bit of red. What does yours need? Maybe yours needs an orange or a purple. Whatever color you've decided to take out next, I want you to put it in your palette. Take it from your little pan or your area where you have your color and push it out onto your mixing area of your palette. Or you might have this, use that. Use the center part of your plate. So this is a super bold pigment. I think this is vermilion. I'm just gonna add a touch more water, and I'm gonna use that full force on this guy. And again, I wanna just touch the page, press down. I wanna try to drag it around. I went a little outside my line there. That's okay. Okay. I really needed a little bit more water in that. Now I want you to take that same color and get your brush all the way full and add that water to this pigment and really work it in. Then I want you to take another brush full of water and add it in. And I'll bet you your pigment is a little lighter than mine at this point. But I want you to make this observation here. I'm going to take it into a new circle. And because I added 2 brushfuls of water, what happened? It's a little different, huh? What if I add one more full brush full of water and I pick a new area and I fill in that area? Every brush full of water you put in, your pigment will get a little bit lighter. If your paper though is not taking the water on too well, stick with a little more pigment in your brush. You might have a mixed media paper. It might not have as much sizing in it. Mine is cold press paper, so it has a lot of sizing in it. It's really meant to take on that water really well. Hi, Linda and Selah. Nice to see you ladies in here. Thanks for coming. Catching you up real quick. We are just literally choosing whatever color we want and putting it into these circles that we traced with a quarter. So if you want to catch up and do that, go ahead. If you just want to watch, that's okay too. I was just demonstrating that this was full force color. I added 2 brushfuls and I added 1 more brushful in this one. But other than that, it's the same pigment I used for those. Gonna switch how I'm sitting here real quick. Okay. Now choose a different color. This time try to, so these colors are all pretty light and bright. Now I want to get a few dark areas in here. So I personally am going to try to mix a really dark purple. So I'm going to take some of that phthalo. I'm going to put it over here. And I'll add some magenta. I haven't gone into this one yet, so sometimes it takes a while to reactivate that pigment. Okay. I like this color. Let's see. Almost. On the screen, it's showing up a little more blue. Here live, for my eye, it's showing up like a deep violet. Now, you might not have magenta in your palette, so definitely go with the colors that you have. I think I'll do a warm yellow now. But I think I want to make it really light. So I'll just keep adding water to it till I get a good sunny color. I'll put that one up here. Now, I don't know if you've done any wet into wet on yours yet. So this little area of my balloon down here is still wet. And I want to go in right next to it with my yellow. So let's see what happens with that. Okay. It grabbed that extra pigment and then it rolled it down. It's kind of a neat effect. This is looking like rainbow bubbles. Something like that. I think I'll just do a nice cyan in a few places. It's kind of similar to cerulean, the color in your Crayola box. I'll do this little guy over here. He's not a proper circle, is he? Good thing this is just practice, huh? Something I also do is, I'll show you right on this surface. If you can see, when I'm going around in my circle, I'll twist my brush a little bit. So you can see up here in my fingers, I'm just twisting it along the outline. And it helps you keep a better boundary within the space that you're trying to fill in. The quicker you do it, the more even your color will look. Also, think about going forward from here. If you want to keep doing watercolor, that cold press paper is going to take on that water a lot better. And you can find all different price points for that. Hobby Lobby, online, whatever you need. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of matte purple I made and put it here for you so you can see. So another color in your printer is magenta, and you might not have it in your palette. So if you don't, think about getting some, because here's what it'll do with your blues. I'm gonna add one more brush full. Got a really nice clear violet color with this. And if you're just coming in, welcome. That's super nice. I like that a lot. But I want a lighter version of that color in between these two. So I'm just gonna rinse that out and add a brush full of water. So think about maybe 3 main areas of clusters with your balloons. So see if you can get some of those colors in each of those 3 clusters, just to kind of balance out your composition. Painting is all about balance of color, balance of light and dark. And I think some orange will really round this out. So I already have a bunch of that red that I put, that vermilion up there. So I'll take some gamboge. Mix it in. And what I really should have done was I should have gone red into yellow. That usually works a little bit better. We'll see. We'll get there. And please, if you have questions, I'm all ears. Today's session is just the joy of color, the joy of circles, and then a little surprise sketch at the end. If you already are ready to move on to your second piece of paper and you just want to make a completely new composition, go ahead and do that. I won't do a second one here, but I'm going to be here for 25 more minutes. So if you have a better idea, if doing this really helped you to see what it was going to look like and now you have a new idea, go to your second piece of paper, practice with a few circles, whether you need to use that quarter to trace or just your drawing muscles. And why don't you switch it up with a couple of oblong ellipses? They're more like that shape. So do a few of those, or triangles, squares, rectangles. That could be fun. Try not to overdo it though. How will you know if you overdo it? I don't know. You just know. You just practice. Okay. I want this one to dry because I want to go over top with something else, but I don't want it to go wet into wet. So I'll do, this one's already totally dry here. That was the first guy I laid. So I'm going to take this orange and I'll just let it intersect with that yellow one. We'll see what happens. Okay, it's not as exciting as I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. I really like that color that made in between those 2 balloons. All right, what if we want to make a gray? One of my favorite grays to make is burnt sienna, which is this brown color. It's like this warm earth tone, kind of like terracotta clay color, and cyan or ultramarine blue. So pick one of your blues. If you have something like a burnt sienna, go for that. If you don't have burnt sienna, use orange or yellow plus red. If you end up with a muddy color, that's okay. Mud is fine. If you don't end up liking the color, just don't use it and try something else. Okay, so I'm going to go into that cyan and add it to my burnt sienna. Okay, it made like a warm, almost a greenish gray. So I'll go into a little bit more blue. Okay. So that's an interesting color. It's a bluish gray. Greenish gray, bluish gray. Something else you can try is to use that color. So right here, I used it next to this blue. But if I use it next to, let's say, this red and this green, it might look a little different over here. Color is totally relative. It's kind of a crazy thing. But I think it takes on a little different character over here versus over here. Okay. I think I'll wrap up with just regular burnt sienna in my last two. And if you've moved on to your second one, I hope your composition and your colors and your shapes are all looking nice. If you have something that's still pooling, and I do, I have this one still pooling here, I'm taking the color out with a thirsty brush. Just for the sake of time, because I'd really like to fill that little area in. Okay. Ooh, I like what happened with that one. Okay. So if yours is near complete, I want you to think in your mind of someone who might be holding these balloons. What would they look like? Would it be a clown? If you are terrified of clowns, I don't recommend drawing a clown. Maybe yours is a guy in a suit that's holding this bunch of balloons. So take your pencil or your pen and sketch right on here what you think the character looks like that would be holding this bunch of balloons. And think about it before you draw it down. Get a picture in your mind of what he looks like, or she. It could be a she. Who do you want to have holding these balloons? Could be a little penguin. It could be a mouse. It could just be, they could be attached to a birthday present at a birthday party. I just really like how I've laid that out. Mine might turn into little hot air balloons going up into the sky. So I want you to take a few minutes and you can also go onto that first paper that you were practicing with. This is still my first paper. But if you've moved on to your second and you want to practice what your guy looks like holding these balloons, or your object or whatever it is, do a little practice sketch on your first piece of paper of what that character looks like. Then once you have a clearer picture in your mind of what it'll look like, go to your new, fresher composition and sketch that out. And as always, thank you so much for joining me in here. This is so much fun. Always appreciate people to paint with. So thanks. And of course, my pigment liner is out of ink. So I might have to use my indigo colored pencil. This is a really great thing to do with stencils too, and colored pencils. Another time you're bored, you have nothing to do, and you don't have your watercolors or you don't want to get them out, trace in some circles with your colored pencils and just etch in there and see what the colors do when they mix, because you can kind of blend colored pencils too. If you follow me on Instagram, please post a picture of what you've made here. I am really eager to see how yours turned out. Let's say, let's come up with a hashtag. If you have any ideas for a hashtag, let me know. Could be BTB balloons. What are your ideas? These almost look like, I don't know, I have Easter eggs on my mind. I wonder why. They look like Easter eggs that are going to drop from the sky. Evelyn says that my circles remind her of the floating lanterns from Tangled. You're right. They do. Especially from far away. That's the other thing too. If you get a little caught up in what you're drawing and you're looking at it too close, sometimes it works to just step back and look at it as a whole. So as I look on the screen, they are totally looking like they're just floating up into the air. So much fun. And you'll have to tell me, did you find a new color combination that you liked? When these circles overlap, did you find a new color that you liked? Or did you find something that you mixed in your palette that you didn't mix before? Now this balloon is bigger, and I didn't originally mean to make him so big, but if he's a little bit closer to you, his basket will be a little bit bigger. So I'll try to make that happen here. And I took some watercolor with me on that one. And as you can see, I'm just kind of, sketching these in. It doesn't have to be super accurate. Just want to give the idea. And Amy says, yes, my daughter mixed our Viridian with a little magenta. Oh, yes. A beautiful deep green. See, that's interesting. I thought you were going to say that it made a purple, because my magenta and Viridian will make like a, almost like a grayish purple color. So very interesting. All right, I'm having a very happy accident happen right here. I wanted to find my other pigment liner that's darker, but this little brown pool came down here and it's kind of behaving like ink. So I'm just transferring it with my colored pencil to these little baskets. And if you want to give the feeling or the look of depth, think about the ones that are on top and maybe farther back. There's going to be more air in between your eye and that object. So that's called atmospheric perspective. So it's going to look a little hazier. So try and see if you can make, if it's your strings back here, or if you did hot air balloons, to make them look a little lighter, like they're fading into the background. And then things that are closer to you, so maybe your character is what's closer to you, make him more bold and make his shapes and his lines more bold. So I'll just kind of keep that one really muted back there. Oh yeah, about the purple. That's so weird. Glad she found out though. Make new discoveries every day. With color especially. I just don't think we'll find out everything about color. And the last thing I'm doing here is these ones in the background. I'm just gonna put in a few really thin lines with the end of my brush. That's another great thing to practice, is doing really fine lines with your brush. So just dragging the very tip of your brush against the paper. It'll give you nice fine lines. Oh, you know what? The thing that I had as my timer stopped on me. So I'm sitting here looking at my timer saying 25 minutes, but we've already been going for 49 minutes. So please, let me know in the chat box if there's any questions you have. I do have a new drawing course out, and it's great, you guys. It's all about learning your brush, and there is charcoal work in that course as well. If you go to my website, bestowingthebrush.com, it's right on the cover page. And you can look at sample videos. You can see what other people have been asking about the course. And then I've got a roadmap there of all the breakdown of what exactly is the content of the course there. So I'm very excited about being able to provide that to you. It's going to be great for your homeschool. It's great for anyone at home right now who you just like to learn a new skill. Drawing is pretty much amazing. It helps you get into your right side of your brain a little bit. It's, when you gain a skill, it helps you be more creative. So if you've always wanted to be more creative, but you just didn't have the technical skill or to be able to really see something and put it down on your paper, my drawing course is going to be absolutely great for learning those skills. It's very entry level. The work is very beginner level. And I take you from, I don't know how to use a brush, to now I can pretty much effectively draw what I want from a natural object or any common object around your home. And the skills that you learn in that course will translate to any painting work and any drawing work that you want to do in the future. So it's a great deal. And if you buy it right now, it's $39.95. So that price will change back up to the regular price on May 1st, and that will be $50. So you have a good window of time right now where you can kind of check it out and ask me any questions, obviously, if you have any. But I worked really hard on it, and it was such a pleasure making it. So I cannot wait for you to try it. Mine is wrapped up. I don't know about yours. I don't know how far along you are. You might still want to be drawing for an hour, 30 minutes. I don't know what you have going on today. But this was such a pleasure being here with you. And I really appreciate you coming to the class. Ladies of Omaha Bible Church, thanks for hopping in here. I miss you guys. This is definitely a weird time where we can't be together. So, oh, yes, someone said hashtag BTB balloons. Let's do it, Emily. Hashtag BTB balloons right here. I would have to draw it backwards. I don't know if I'll do it after the video. I'll post on Facebook and Instagram about this later tonight, but I had so much fun doing this with you. Sarah asks or says, Andy got excited about my far away gray balloon. He said it's the same color as his eyes. He turned his balloon into the Winnie the Pooh bee scene. Oh, cool. I want to see that, Andy. Amy says, thanks, Dallas. This was super fun. My daughter loved it. She said, Mom, can we do this every Wednesday? You know what? I can't make any promises, but it would be so much fun to do this every Wednesday. You'll have to let me know. Is 3:00 Central Time? And I'm not sure where you are, Amy, but is this a good time of the afternoon going forward? I could see being able to do this once a month, at least. So let's put a pin in that and let's see what we can do. I think live classes are a lot of fun. Yeah. Hashtag BTB balloons. Awesome. Mousy Mom said this time is great for her. Wonderful. Me too. 3:00 is like the sweet spot of the day. And I think I'll always try to be keeping this under an hour. So I think we're at 54 minutes right now. Oh yeah, you're in Wisconsin. That's right. This time works for you. Perfect. Because Wisconsin, same time, right? Yes, weekly or monthly. Well, great. Awesome, people. I really appreciate you. Thanks for coming today. Have a great rest of your day. And perfect. Texas. We're good in Texas. You are so welcome, Sarah. Awesome. Definitely send me a picture. I want to see everyone's work. Hashtag BTB balloons. And I will talk to you guys all later. Have a good day. Bye.